Good evening, welcome to the Hedberg Public Library. Our speaker this evening is someone you may recognize if you visit the ground floor coffee and gift area downstairs. Burdette Richter is the ground floor manager. He's a retired Black Hawk Tech instructor and has been working part-time with Gelder Tours for the past 3 years. He's a seasoned traveler and tour director, and having been all over the United States. Tonight, Burdette will talk about the advantages of traveling by bus versus other transportation options and give us some tips. Please help me welcome Burdette Richter.
Thank you, Jean. Thank you. Well, thank you. It's very nice to be here. I'm sure all of you at one time or another have probably experienced some hassles when it comes to travel. If you've ever gone downtown Chicago, this time of year especially, you'll find that it's very difficult to get around, whether it's by automobile or whatever means that you're down there with. Just last Saturday, I was down in Chicago, and if I would have had to drive myself, I probably would have gone insane. Well, tonight I want to talk to you about some other options besides the automobile as far as traveling wherever you may go, whether it's Chicago, whether it's New York, whether it's out west, Canada, wherever it might be. There are some advantages, obviously, of traveling by bus other than automobile. And hopefully I can kind of give you some tips and reasons why you would want to maybe travel by bus. Some of the reasons might be for transportation only, and by transportation only I would mean that if you need a ride to O'Hare Field, you need a ride to Midway, you want to go to Madison for whatever reason, and you don't want to drive there, or you're going to be connecting maybe to a flight out of O'Hare Field or Midway Airport, something like that. And some coach lines might even go to Milwaukee from Madison. But in any case, it's basically for transportation reasons only. You also have the option of doing charter coaches. And what this means by charter is that you as an individual can charter a bus at any time through different bus companies. You could end up being the group leader, which means that you would actually rent the bus and then you would either charge the people as a service, part of the cost of renting that bus one way or the other. And it could be for different things. You could be going to some presentation in Chicago that you all want to go to. You could be going to a quilt show in Baraboo. It could be for a family or class reunion. And probably one of the most popular ones are either one, Green Bay Packer games, Wisconsin games, and two, weddings. And weddings seem to be a very popular venue as far as taking a bus. The wedding party all gets together, whether it be maybe the bride or groom themselves rents a bus, but they will rent the bus and then they travel around wherever they may stop at different spots to celebrate, their happy day. And of course, where my part comes in with my position, we have what we call group tours, and these are retail tours that are actually sponsored by the company, and you could end up having a day tour. Retail, whether it be Restaurant of the Month, whether it might be a Chicago Fun Day. You could be going to some activity we actually sell as a group. You could have extended day tours. You could be going to a 6-day tour to New York City. Could be doing 10 days to the Canadian Rockies, any of those things. And of course we also, you could have flyaways, which means that you would fly to a destination, but then you would link up with a bus company there, and that bus company would take you around, whether it be ours or it'd be another one, and then you would travel by bus until you fly back home. So there are many options other than driving your car, to get to places. There are different types of equipment, obviously, as you can see here. The most common one is the 56-passenger coach. This one is used primarily for day tours and also your extended trips. Like I said, if you have a 6-day trip to Washington, D.C. The mini coach is used basically for maybe a smaller group of people. That usually holds 28 passengers. A school bus would be for some activity. Maybe you just want a field trip and they're less expensive, of course, to rent than what the mini coach or the 56 passenger. The executive coach is exactly that. It holds up to 28 people. 28 people gets a little tight, but sometimes you'll find that this is the most popular one for wedding groups. The wedding people, because you usually have a wet bar in there, you have a microwave, you have a place where you can put food, things, drinks of your own choice. And as you can see that they have recliners in the front there, usually couches, and in the back a few of the actual bench seats. And like I said, the 56 passenger is the one that's the most common. Some other companies, like we went to the Canadian Rockies this last year, we flew into Seattle and then Spokane. MTI met us there, they had their own coach. It was a 45-footer just like this one, but it only had 48 seats. So sometimes you get more leg room depending on which coach line you're on. School buses are usually a maximum 48 passenger, and they're not as comfortable as obviously the other choices would be. Some of the motor coach amenities, obviously, whenever you ride the motor coach, you get the panoramic view, of course. Scenery, you can just sit back and relax. You can just have pure sanity because you don't have to worry about anything because the bus driver is going to take care of it. And the tour director, if you have one, is going to take care of all of the logistics. So you don't have to worry about checking in with anything of that sort. And you can just sit back and relax. All of the 56 passenger coaches are going to have a restroom on board. And that restroom is basically like probably what you would say is, what do you call the ones that are out, you know, like Porta-John or something, porta-potty like that. None of them usually have running water, but they do have, of course, desanitizer and things of that sort. All of the coaches that, of course, our company has all have shades, you know, so that you can block the sun out. There's ample storage both underneath the coach and also above the coach, just like you would with airlines. The company that I do work for now has 14 brand new coaches, and the nice things about the brand new coaches is they all have Wi-Fi on them. And most of your coaches that are being made today have Wi-Fi, which allows you to use your laptop while you're there. The other thing that's nice is that they have monitors, of course, for CDs or DVDs. If you, as a group leader yourself or the tour director wants to show a DVD while you're traveling. And they all have seat belts now, new ones. As right now, state law doesn't require that you wear those seat belts, but we always encourage you to do so. And the other thing that's really nice is that they all have 120 outlets, which means you can plug in your smartphone, you can plug in your laptop, you can plug in your iPod or iPad, so that you don't have to run that battery down and then worry about what you're going to do once it does run down. And the only thing you have to remember is have the driver, of course, of the coach turn on the little switch up front that powers the outlets. That happened one time with me. I thought I was charging my smartphone, got to my destination, and the phone was dead. But normally that doesn't happen. All of the 56 passenger coaches have wheelchair lifts, so don't let that be a reason why you can't travel, because they can move a couple of seats in the back forward. They can operate that lift, lifts you right up with the wheelchair, puts you right on the coach. You sit right in your wheelchair if you want, or you can have it folded up and sit in one of the regular seats, either way. So you don't have to use that basically as an excuse of why you can't travel by bus. And it's really quite handy. All of the drivers know how to use it. It's very easy to do. A lot of them are equipped with GPS, so you have that option. And of course, all of the coaches are air conditioned except for your 48 passenger school buses. But the school buses are not used very often when you travel by bus. For those that are basically into conserving energy and things like that, we encourage you to go by bus because of a couple of reasons. One is that one motor coach can replace 55 cars on the highway, if you think about the number of people that will fit on a coach. Motor coaches on average deliver 336 passenger miles per gallon of fuel, where a single occupant automobile achieves only about 22 to 28 passenger miles per gallon of fuel on the highway. And a motor coach uses less fuel and produces less CO2, carbon dioxide, monoxide, than other comparable modes of transportation. So obviously, going by coach, you're going green. You probably still could ask the question, why go by bus? The first thing is that comfort. Obviously, it's hassle-free. You know, all the coaches, especially the 56 passenger ones and the executive coach, are very comfortable seats, plenty of leg room. You sit back, the seats recline. You end up getting dropped off usually right at the front door or wherever your venue is. As an example, people usually travel by coach a lot of times to go to Chicago Cub baseball games. When you think about the cost, the comfort, you know, you have no gasoline cost for your automobile, no wear and tear in your automobile, no toll fees at all. You don't have to worry about the 2.5-hour drive to Chicago. You don't have to pay the $30 parking fee at minimum if you even want to park around Wrigley Field. So you're already talking, you know, quite a cost. When you let the driver and the tour director take care of you, they pull right up to gate K, drop you right off in front, and they're out there waiting for you when the game's over. Can't beat it. Doesn't matter if it's even sprinkling a little bit, they're going to drop you right off at that front gate. And usually whenever you go on trips like that, when you have a professional tour director accompany you, you know, you're going to have that person take care of you as far as all the, like I said, the logistics of everything. They'll make sure that they take care of your luggage for you. You don't have to worry about your luggage. They'll check you into the hotel, give you your room keys right there in the spot. They'll have other things arranged on the coach, whether it be quizzes, whether it be movies, whether it be other entertainment. And you're always stopping every 2 to 3 hours, you know, for a break anyway, whether it be a morning break to get coffee. Some people that smoke want to have a cigarette, whatever the case may be. And you're able to walk up and down the aisles. You sit there on the coach and you obviously meet other people. And that's one of the neat things about traveling by bus, because they do seat rotation. And when they do seat rotation, every day they move you either 2, 3, or 4 seats back in a clockwise way. And that way then you're always moving around. You're always getting sat across from other people. Maybe somebody new in front of you, somebody new in back of you. That way then everyone gets a chance to experience different seating arrangements on the coach, because everybody seems to like that front passenger side of the coach seat. And there's also some usually in the back that have a little bit more leg room. So when that happens and you do the seat rotation, it makes it fair for everyone, obviously, to get different seats, plus the fact that you just can't help but meeting new people. And that's what it's all about. And of course, you have restrooms on board, like I had mentioned, which are nice. Safety. Drivers that are usually with these companies, especially ours, you know, have at least probably anywhere from 15 to 25 years experience of driving those coaches. They drive those coaches downtown Chicago, New York City, and places where I wouldn't drive my own car. And they move this 45-foot long coach in and around traffic and seem to have no problem doing it. When you think about the gas prices, obviously, you know, today they're $3.18 a gallon. And I just saw that Woodman's went up to $3.24 a gallon, so you know they're rising again. It's just a way that you just can't afford not to travel for most part, you know, other than by coach. And even when you drive your own car, whether it's out west or anyplace else, you don't get a chance to see the scenery because you're watching the road, we hope. This way you sit back, you let the tour director give you information, you let the driver give you information, and you learn why you're traveling, plus you can see all the scenery. And that's probably the biggest advantage, I would say, you know, of traveling by coach. There are several things you want to consider whenever you're choosing a motor coach tour company. Whether it be ours or one other one. Safety record, you always want to look at their safety record to make sure that you know that they are good, safe drivers. And I don't know of any major accidents, any major problems I've ever had with our company. You want to look at how long the company's been in business. You know, if they just started yesterday, they may be a little new, you know, or whatever, and that. You want to look at the age of the fleet, like I just said. Our company, we just bought 14 brand new coaches. You know, and they're about $500,000 a piece, so you know that they're not inexpensive. But even the ones that are still in service before those are only 2 or 3 years old. And they usually try to replace coaches every 3 to 5 years. And they might have 1 million miles on them, but you never know it when you look at them because they're still in really good shape. Really good shape. You look at the type of equipment available, and I went over that with you earlier as far as what they have. Hours of driving for drivers, timing, etc. Look at how many hours those drivers have had, and like I mentioned, most of them are going to be around 15 to 20 to 25 years driving those coaches. And I know that there's one driver that we have that's been driving for 6 years. I swear that he's been driving all his, all of his life, for 30 or 40 years. He's very experienced, very experienced. None of the drivers are allowed to drive over a certain amount of hours every day. They must have rest, so you never have one that sleep at the wheel or get sleepy at the wheel. They're always very careful about that, and all of their itineraries are always planned around that, so that you know that you're never on the road longer than what the driver can be. Okay, we never violate those driving records. Backup equipment in case of emergencies. If you ever do have a situation where you have a coach that might break down or have a flat tire or whatever, you want to make sure that those type of places or businesses have a way to get another coach out there right away so that you're not delayed on your trip. Nothing worse than to pay for a trip and have to spend half a day waiting for another coach to show up. And probably one of the biggest things that ever happens is that look for references from other clients that have traveled with that company. Make sure that that you look at them, and if they say, oh, I'd never drive with that company again, I had a bad experience or too experienced, whatever, or I would never choose any company but that one because of X, Y, and Z. They have the best tour directors, they have the best drivers, they have the best equipment. And a lot of times you look at that information and and you can't help but if people keep coming back time and time again for repeat business. Look at the cleanliness of the coaches. I've yet to be on a coach that isn't swept out and cleaned every single day. The sides of them are washed. The drivers wash them. They get up at 5 in the morning sometimes, wash all the windows, clean everything out. It's amazing how the drivers are so proud of their coaches that they will take care of them when nobody else will. And that just is reflected, I think, overall on the company that you might choose. And again, cost versus quality. You want to make sure that you're getting a good quality product or good quality tour for the cost. And again, compare to other companies, make sure. Look at their references and find out whether or not those people were satisfied with that company. Very big consideration is the cancellation or refund policy. Find out whether or not if you would happen to have to cancel last minute, whether or not there's a refund, whether or not the company offers any type of insurance, travel insurance, which I know ours does, and based upon the cost is very inexpensive in case something would happen. I would strongly recommend it if you're taking a long extended tour that costs you $2,000 or $3,000 a person, to get that insurance, because you never know if you might get sick, relative might have problems or whatever, and you may have to cancel your trip. And of course, look at the customer service of the company. Do they keep in contact with you? Do they provide you with all the documents that you need? Do they provide you with all the service up front that you need? Are they friendly? I know that the office that we have, there's not one of those girls that aren't friendly up there, that they just bend over backwards to help you. And they know that if they don't do that, they're not going to stay in business very long. Not very long at all. So again, those are some things to consider when you're choosing a motor coach tour company. And last but not least, the possibilities are endless as far as where you can go and what you can do, and probably some of the most popular destinations. Obviously, I think Chicago is one of the biggies because you have the line runs that run every day, 365 days a week, that take you to Chicago. One of the more popular trips that happen this time of year is what they call Chicago Fun Days. And for a very small price, they'll drive you to Woodfield Mall. You can get off there. You can get off on North Michigan Avenue. You can get off at the Loop at State and Randolph. You can go to the Art Institute. You can go to the Field Museum. You can go to the Museum of Science and Industry. They turn around, they reverse the route back, they pick you up, drop you right off where your car is parked, and it's for a very, very small price. In fact, you couldn't even park in Chicago for what it cost you for that trip. So, you know, and that's very popular. I mean, in state, you know, you have Door County, you have Mackinac Island that's been traveled at. A lot of people travel to Washington, D.C. New York City seems to be popular destinations. West of Yellowstone National Park, Bryce Canyon Park, places like that. Every year I know our company goes to the Rose Bowl Parade in California, and the last 2 years we've been fortunate to get Wisconsin Badgers out there at the same time. It's not specifically for that, but people have actually stayed for the Rose Bowl game, which is kind of nice if it happens that way. You know, and the list goes on and on and on as far as where you can go and what you can do. I just think today it's with the cost and everything else, on ease of being dropped off right where you need to be and luggage taken care of and everything else, it's just smart to go by bus, in my opinion. It really is. And you forget about the old days of the Greyhounds and all that stuff, you know, and the old black smoke rolling out as you're traveling down the road. You know, everything today is just is very high tech, and it's very convenient. So I would strongly encourage you to consider traveling by bus. Do I have any questions at this time?
Do you have themed tours?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I know our company does. I know other ones do too. You may have.
Question.
Oh.
Repeat the question.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. The question was, is that do you have themed tours? Yes, a lot of companies do. They may have a themed tour. Like we had one that we went to French Lick, Indiana, and it was all themed around Dillinger, okay, and you know, and his days, you know, and all the way down we stopped at different places. We went to his grave in Indianapolis, all of these things, until we got to French Lick and came back and saw the jail he's in, things of that sort. We have mystery tours where we have a 3-day mystery tour this year. You don't know where you're going, what you're doing. People take a chance, but it's usually fun, and it's usually, you know, that way. You might have something like northern Wisconsin where you'll have, again, things that may be themed around, you know, water sports or things of that sort. It just all depends, you know, but usually with a company, they'll have on either websites or they'll have their brochures that have all of their trips that they'll have, and you'll see themes that may happen. We have themes of where we do restaurant of the month. Every year we do one restaurant of the month every single month, and you know, some people sign up for those, all 12 of them at one time, and they love to go see where we have a different restaurant we try every month, and it's kind of neat, and you always have an activity that goes along with it. So it just all depends, you know, whether it's an extended tour or a day tour. All of our day tours are themed, whether it be going to see Jersey Boys or $1 Million Quartet or something of that sort. You know, it's a theme. We went to Lombardi, you know, to Repertoire Theater in Milwaukee and stuff. So there may be something that is geared towards a certain theme, or it may be just an activity itself. So, okay.
Is there a website?
Yes, for our company, we do have a website. And I know I don't like to advertise my company I work for because it's supposed to be very generic, but Van Gelder Tour and Travel, and they do have a website. It's under Van Gelder Bus Company, and then you can click on tours they have. But there are obviously other companies out there that you may want to consider. I mean, but we're pretty proud of ours, and I think, you know, if you compare, if you feel you get a better deal there, that's fine. But I mean, just still, the theme tonight, of course, is to travel by bus, and that's what we want to encourage. So, all right. Well, I thank you all for coming tonight, and it's been a pleasure talking with you. And if you have any further questions after the presentation, I'll be around for a while, and I'll be, you know, happy to answer any of them. Okay? Thank you again.